So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace and peace, and peace. Alright, make peace, peace together. Thank you guys for joining me on Chasing Shadows show. A lot of you guys are wondering why I called it Chasing Shadows. Is because when I called it Between Two Worlds, and I've had it for over 20 plus years, there has been YouTube decided to out me because I was getting truthful, I guess. You know, that's what happens when you start showing the truth about things You start sharing it, and then they'll say, you can't talk about this, can't talk about that, can't talk about this, and guess what? Oh, I have a puppy. Or I got a kitty cat. Watch this video. No. Or they want you to buy something online. Come on, give me a break, guys. I'm going to buy something. I'll buy you an island we can send Trudeau to. Anyways, he probably was there. Most likely, actually, he was. By the way, folks, truthful. On the flight listings of the people that actually were on Epstein Island, guess whose name was on it, or names were on it? Yep. JT and well as his wife. They have been on the Epstein Island many times. You'll find out. I got the copies. I got some copies. Cool, right? Yeah, you know who he is, folks. He's not as nice as a person you think he is. He's not the nice guy. Anyways, thank you for being part of this program. And I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but there has been a lot of things going on, and I had to play catch up here quickly because I was shopping all day, and I wanted to get a bit of an update with some of the people that have been dealing with the so-called police issue, or your Ontario government. They have been nasty. Let's play a little bit of catch up first. Okay. Everybody's talking about the GoFundMe. Well, GoFundMe actually is and has been charged. The Florida government actually is going after them for what they have done with the money. So they immediately had to release it to the public, or to whom the bank account was supposed to be going to. And so it has been released. The only thing is now, unlike Pat King had said, the Ontario government has froze the transaction. So basically what they've done to make sure that he doesn't get any money out or give money any of the as they think, no money given to the truckers. Okay. Big shout out to all the great truckers out there. Guys have actually been standing in Ottawa as well as across the world, the US, you name it. I stand with you guys big time, because I know what your intentions are, is to actually get your freedom, right? Freedom. That's what this is about, folks. This whole program, even my program, it's about freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of will, freedom to go anywhere you want. Not controlled by any corporate companies, any corporate societies, any corporate organizations. That's what this is all about. I've been doing it, been fighting through this for years. And I've always been trying to stand my ground. I would stand back and observe for a while. And I've been observing for a long time before this COVID started. And then it come to the point where I just said, you know what? That's it. Enough is enough. So here's what happened. Let's play catch up on some of the monies. So there actually is a Give, Send, Go money available. It's called Give, Send, Go. It's a website that actually is very similar to the other one, except this company, and then there's, thank you, Coraline, for sending this to me, but the Give, Send, Go says that the Ontario government has no jurisdiction in the U.S. whatsoever to force them to seize money or to shove it or to stop it from actually being going out to be used or controlled. And the other company had no right to do the same thing either, because it also too is an American business. But the reason why GoFundMe did agree with the Ontario government, because they themselves are friends of or associates of the Ontario government, which is actually JT. Okay, they're buddies, and that's why they're thinking, hey, I'll do this for you. I want you to do this for me. But they also, what they did to the company, by telling the company, they said that they were a bad group of people, that they were doing bad things. Okay, that's what they had said. So they thought they were trying to convince the company that they were part of a organization that was corrupt, and they're trying to give the truckers this basically they're trying to give the truckers a bad name. This is what our Ontario government has been doing all this time, giving them a bad name, a terrible name, calling them white supremacists or calling them anything, racist, you name it. They were giving them every name in the book. They went as far as, folks, there was a young man who actually, there's actually a logo that the Freedom Truckers had made. Beautiful logo. Okay. Freedom Truckers 2022. They made this beautiful logo on their page. And some little jerk decided to say, oh, that symbol has the 666 in it. You see what I mean? He goes, look at it. It has a 666. What he did, folks, and if you may have seen it, but this young man, whoever he was, decided to play a little bit of lineage and just add it in there a little bit to make it look like as if that's their logo. So they're going to try their darndest to actually destroy. They're trying their darndest to shut down the truckers' freedom. I'll tell you right now, I got updates, what's going on. The guys down there, sure, some of them are and what they did this morning was Pat King, okay, the real Pat King said on his video, I'm not going to tell you where we're going to go, but he said, there's truckers that I already know that they know where they're going to supposed to be, and we're going to meet up in the morning, and they did their tour in Ottawa. They also called all the truckers, even more truckers that wanting to come into Ottawa and stand up, because we're getting that close, folks. This close, so close for more of our freedoms. Trudeau does not want you to be free. That his plan is to be like his daddy, not Pierre Elliott. He wants to be like his birth father. He wants to do the same controlling attitude. He wants to be another Castro. That's his goal. That was his goal all this time. He wanted to rule this country in the same manner. And he was going to convince every liberal caucus, even the mayor and the police officer, the chief, to join him. Guess what? They did. They joined them. They joined Trudeau. But guess what? I hear an echo. Clink, clink. They're coming for you, buddy. They're coming for you guys. I'm waiting. I heard it, and I heard clink, clink. You guys are done. Right? No, Ottawa did not freeze the Give, Send, Go. No, they didn't. They didn't freeze it. Because according to Give, Send, Go, they just said, Give, Send, Go just said, the Ontario government has no jurisdiction in the USA at all. They didn't freeze it. Okay, Ottawa court cannot freeze the money because they have no proof. Okay, the Ontario government has no proof of any corruption whatsoever. Yes. The police chief is a deep state plant. Yes, he is. He's got some very nasty history. Nasty history. Very nasty history. So what Ontario and I'm not my mayor, but the mayor of Ontario, he's as corrupt as a baby pooping in his pants. Yes, pretty well Trudeau went out, do it the same way. Okay, what's coming out, man, is going to be the biggest mess ever. You guys think, everyone thinks that, I mean, there are people here. I've got people right now, our Indigenous community, there's a women's website, actually Indigenous website, I'm not going to mention the name, but they even set it up saying that the truckers are so evil that they're raping women and killing them. And they also mentioned that the Highway of Tears, saying the truckers are the ones that killed the women. Maybe 2 or 3, but that was 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. And they're not all truckers, folks, but they're giving them, saying that, oh, they were truckers. No, they weren't. One trucker, okay, one trucker was that murdered a young girl, picked her up, and apparently she was killed. The other two men were truck drivers, but they didn't drive semis. Just three. But they're saying that all truckers are evil, and they're saying all truckers are the ones that harm women, and we need to hide our Indigenous women and make sure they're not going to be harmed in Ottawa during this protest. There are more Indigenous people, folks, and I want to say this as well, and our government's even turned around and said, and even this is APTN, Aboriginal People's Television Network, said this. But I didn't like what they did, what they had said. But they said there was like more than 90% plus white people that are truckers. 90% white? No, and no. They said there are very few Indigenous people that were at the location. Lucky they say maybe one or two. They even questioned Pat King's identity as a white man. Just only a white man. Pat King is not just white, folks. He's more Native than you think. I am who I am. I got Native blood as well. Pat King, sure, he wears a beard. Does not make him white. There are a lot of Indigenous men wearing beards. A lot of First Nations on the West Coast here wearing beards. Give me a break. Pat King is a Ojibwe. Has always been a Ojibwe. He's a Anishinaabe. His mom, his family. He actually told APTN themselves where his family was from. He's not a reservation man. He never was. His mom left the res. Okay? His family, his grandmother, his mom left the res. But they are where they are. He is a Ojibwe. He's more full-blood Ojibwe than you guys think. Pat King has been around for a long time, working with First Nations people since he was a boy. And you think he's new? Our government, our Canadian government, has gone so far as to trying to do everything they can to destroy his reputation by saying that he is a racist, and they also saying all kinds of things that he's actually he hurts people. He's never done that. The only people whose heart he's hurt is the government, and he's hurt them badly. And they're going to even hear more of it and see more of it. But Pat King said today, I'm not the hero here. You guys are. He said, I just gave you a push and a nudge. And he's right. Like I do here. I'm not the hero either. I give you guys information. I'm just pushing. I'm telling you exactly what's going on out there. What I see, what I hear, and I pass the information on. I'm just the messenger. But I also voice an opinion because I see things that I don't agree with, things that feels it needs to be taken care of, and I focus on those issues. But I'm also giving you people all across the world to know what's going on here in Canada. Everything from the West Coast to the East, as much as I possibly can. Coots in Alberta, okay? That border is so tied up. The RCMP thought they had power to remove people's vehicles, but they're going to bring in a tow truck driver, and this tow truck driver is going to take this guy's truck and drive off. It didn't happen. So what they decided to do is take all his gas and whatever else they can load. You know what they were doing? They actually they were handing out tickets to every farmer that had a gasoline tank in the back of their truck. You know those tanks they use to pump your gas into your vehicle or your tractor? They were arresting them and giving them tickets, fines as much as $700. Okay? Fines on the farmers because the cops are trying to do everything they can to prevent this fuel to be given to a trucker. Farmers have diesel tractors, guys. Think about it. They have the right to carry that fuel because they have a license in the back of their vehicle and it says farmer. I can carry fuel. Farmer, I'm not using orange gas. I'm not using purple gas. I have diesel. That's a law. Once a police officer takes your tanks or steals your gas, that is a federal offense. Those officers can be arrested by another group of officers. You know that? All you have to do is folks have to do is call for another officer to arrest them. If they're city cops, you can call the RCMP to arrest the city cops. You know that? Because it's federal over provincial. If that doesn't work, you call the sheriff. The sheriff is over both of them, have power. Because the sheriffs cannot refuse you to arrest a person that actually is breaking the law. They have to follow the Canadian Charter of Rights. That is the code. They swore by that. Blair says, I met Pat in the summer on the island at a rally, and he is not a bad guy at all. Thank you, Blair. No, he's not. I've sent messages back and forth to Pat, giving information. There are people even tried so hard to say that Pat did a very negative thing by having to, they said he was doing a peace pipe ceremony and it was not accepted by the Anishinaabe people or Ojibwe people, and the chiefs are upset about it. Nobody was upset about it, but they made a big deal because one person called it in. One woman who's not even First Nations, who's married to a First Nations person, made a big stink about it. Guess what? He never did a pipe ceremony. He received a pipe, and to be honored to be receiving it in public. And about 70-80% of those people that were in that area, in that park, when they gave him that gift, were First Nations or Métis. They're already in First Nations and Indigenous people. I'm a pipe carrier. I've been a pipe carrier for 20 years. I wrote to Pat and told him, don't feel bad about what they've been trying to say to you about you. I know how I went through it, my own ceremonies. There is a proper protocol. It'll all be taken care of. But Pat will be. I mean, Pat even went as far as having to give up the pipe. He says, no, I want to do this correctly, properly. He said, because I don't want to have the people believing what the government and the media had said, that they're handing out pipes for free. APTN should know better. But I forgot, folks. You know, guys don't realize APTN also is owned by Trudeau. He runs it. He tells them how and what to say on their own program. It is an Aboriginal People's television network, not a white man's network. But they're doing what he wants them to do if they want money. I remember when APTN was struggling to get financial income to keep this TV station running. And Harper used to help them out to get a little slightly further ahead. Not much. Harper couldn't give a crap. Harper was just as racist as anything else when he was prime minister before Trudeau. Trudeau handed out $600 million for one reason, $400 to $600 million for one reason, and that is to make sure you lie to the public. And he admitted it. And you guys sat there in the background, this is funny. No, he was serious. And you thought it was a joke. And he's getting away with it. And you guys sitting there going like, oh, well, okay, we're Canadians. I'm sorry. Get off your duff, folks. Like I tell people, my mom taught me this. This is a free country. Our Canadian soldiers, our Canadian military, okay, we're the Canadian Armed Forces. They were peacekeepers. Everyone knows this. At the time, they were peacekeepers. They were sent on the front lines. They never had what the Americans had. The Americans had a draft. They grabbed 16-year-olds and say, you're going to war. Our Canadian government did not have a draft. We volunteered. Do you know who caused that caused this? For example, let's talk about something quickly here. If you guys remember in Hawaii, the Japanese bombed the island in Hawaii. Do you remember that? So what happened is, on the newspaper, it said that England and the United States are going to war against the Japanese. They're going to war. We're going to war. So what did Canada do? Well, we decided to go to war too. Our country needs to protect the British. Our country to protect the United States. We need to go to war. We're going to war. So what they do, they actually took all the Japanese people in Canada and put them into concentration camps. All the Japanese lost their rights and sent them all to concentration camps. But guess what? After the war was over, those Japanese people should have come home, at least have the right to have their freedom, to go home. No, they didn't. They had to stay in a concentration camp for 4 more years. This was in British Columbia, here in Canada. They kept them there for 4 more years. Hard labor. There were grandparents that never seen their homes again. They lost their homes. They lost their rights. They lost all their properties before we had the Second World War, whatever, before any wars ever happened. Anybody with any ethnic background that relates to an issue, they always put someone in a concentration camp. So we thought the Germans were horrible by putting the Jews into concentration camps or Auschwitz camp. Our freaking country is just as bad. We put the Japanese and Chinese in concentration camps in our own country. Our country in British Columbia, okay, our province, British Columbia, was the most, and actually back in then, was the most racist province in our country. Canada was the most racist country in the world. Do you know that? They hated Chinese. They didn't like Japanese, but they welcomed them there to be used for hard labor, cheap labor. But when it comes to when other people start coming in to wanting to migrate, right? Again, yes, the Canadian genocide actually and also happened to the First Nations. Do you know how the cannery started? I'll give you guys a little bit of history. Do you know how the cannery in Richmond started? Do you know who owned that cannery? A black man, an African-American fellow from Canada, right, owned the cannery. He's the very first man that started the cannery. And he worked with the First Nations. They're the ones that were bringing in the fish, doing the fishing, doing all the cannery. Then later on, when there was wars coming in and our Canadian government started becoming more and more jealous, and our mayor in Vancouver was so freaking racist. He did not want any Chinese or Japanese person working and have equal pay. But guess what? This black man, what he did, he actually gave them a place to come to and to work. Equal pay. And so he worked at the cannery. And then later on, there was a lot of corruption where there was police officers demanding protection money. They were going to give him protection that he had to pay them X amount of dollars. I used to paranormal investigate that factory. There was murders, man. People were murdered there by corrupt cops of Vancouver. They killed a lot of people in the cannery. You guys think you know your history? Our country, our province in BC was so bad. And Mackenzie King was the most corrupt prime minister next to Trudeau. Bad man. And they always use the word, well, you know, if these people come from this other country, they're going to take jobs away from these other people and they're not going to have nothing. So we need to do this unto these people. And why do you think that a lot of the South Asian, East Indian guys came in off that boat, off that ship. Do you know how long it took the East Indian people? Like they left a violent part of the country that was at war, and they left their country to get work and to have freedom, and they came to British Columbia. That opportunity back in the 50s to come here, an opportunity. They would not allow the East Indians, South Asians, to land on the property, on the land, in BC. It wouldn't allow, and they were stuck on that ship for 6 months. And the white people down there, small boats, were actually throwing stones at them, and then they're eating their meals, making them look as if, hey, I'm having a great time here, go home. White people were teasing a lot of the East Indian, South Asian people on the ships, and they were starving. And the government says, go home. It took them 6 months to finally make a decision that they had to go back to their own country. But some did sneak into Canada. They tried their darndest. You guys think that you had your freedom? You think that our country, Canada, was so free that we were not racist? That we're the most mild people? You know what I mean? I'm telling you. So they made there's a documentary that I watched, and it's so accurate. And yet the government does not want you to know this documentary. They don't want you to see it because it tells you the proof. It sickened me to see this. Do you know that back in the what year was that? I think it was 1960s, 50s or 60s. Our Canadian government started a labor war. Basically, they were trying to tell the people that they have no right for this, now we're no rights for that. And these men got fed up with this, and they decided to take a train. They took the CP rail, and they were sitting on top of the roof of the CP rail, and they all said they want to get to Ottawa. They want to get to Ottawa, and they want to protest. They're protesting. They want their rights as human beings. This is not the first time, folks. Okay? They got on top of the trains, and they tried to get as far as they could. And for every town that they stopped with the train, people were handing them food and thanking them for actually standing up for their rights, their freedom of rights. As soon as they stopped in Regina, the police were waiting for them. The police brought out smoke bombs, tear gas, and billy clubs, and whatever they have available. They beat the living crap out of the people that are trying to get to Ottawa, because they didn't want them to have their freedom. The police, again, were told, and nobody had any weapons. None of the people that were peaceful or had weapons. None. But they told the police, beat the snot out of them, even if you have to kill them. And they did. The police killed over 100 men trying to get their freedom. And they left them laying there on the ground. Never picked them up. They died. Just beat them senseless until he killed them. You're freaking cops. Regina. Think about it, guys. The RCMP, where do they have their base that they train their people? Regina, Saskatchewan. This is basically what the Ontario government is trying to do. They're trying to do the same thing by trying to humiliate you and to make you feel that you have to fight back. Once you raise your hand back to that officer, that gives him the right to shoot you. They're carrying assault rifles now. Rubber bullets. Big ones. Our RCMP or city cops, the RCMP are backing off. They're not doing much. But the city cops, Toronto, they were told to go in and grab the gas from the truckers. So that one night, the cops come in and grabs all the gas, takes off, and everybody's going like, "What are you guys doing?" So What happened was, with all the smarts that people have in their heads, they said, well, you know what? We need people to bring in fuel. So what did people do? Other people brought jerry cans of fuel into the truckers, for the truckers the next morning. No problem. That afternoon, the police came back with the jerry cans full of gas, and they returned the fuel back to the people because they embarrassed them. The mayor hated it. Then he tried something else. So he figured, okay, next day or two, I'm going to go after them. We're going to send my people back out there again. And again, we're going to take their gas. But this time we're going to dismantle them. They went after all of the food suppliers. Start dismantling tents, whatever else they could do to take everything that they can away from them that's there. Even their own fuel to heat the tents to keep people warm inside. That is against the Nuremberg Code. And it is also, okay, it is against, I'm telling you folks, this is what the government's trying to do. The government's trying its darndest to have to make you believe that you are weak, and they try to take it away from you. It ain't going to happen here. None. We're still peaceful. All of us are people. Everyone out there is peaceful. And the government actually said, oh, the truckers left. They're not coming back. They're going home. No, they didn't. They didn't go home. Truckers never went home. They're still very much here. They got scattered out a little bit, but they're still around. What Pat King and all of them, they did, they had their big meetup today. I'm sure some of you may have seen the videos. They had their big meetups in the location. Yes, Lois, it is against the Geneva Convention. And some people are telling me, well, the Geneva Convention has something to do with, like, you got to be at war first before you can use Geneva Convention. You are at war because Ontario called for the word. They actually said, we're at war with the Freedom Truckers. Once you say the word, you created it. When something's taken away from you that is illegal, which is called essential, then that's considered under the Geneva Convention. You cannot do this to anyone. So I'm telling you guys, this is bigger than you think. The more people that's down there, the more you're going to see the truth. Terry, go for it. Go to Ottawa. They're still there. The guys are still there. They still need more people. How long will this will last? Probably a few more weeks. It's gonna really tick off the government. Right now, everyone's at a let's put it this way. This is how horrible our Canadian government is. Okay. Let's put it this way. Trudeau's caucus, his own people are actually turning on him now. They're seeing they're actually beginning to see the truth, and now they're going like, "Hey, Justin, you can't do that. You can't say these things." We watched in Parliament Trudeau have a freak out, as in freak out. His eyes are wide open, and he's like this. I'm not kidding you. He freaked out in Parliament. He had a nut case. He had a breakdown, nut job breakdown. This is the real Trudeau is already gone. This is a fake one, but still he's told to, by the deep state, still told to play the game. Still told that they have to go and do this. So yeah, he was bug-eyed. He was nuts. I seen the photographs, seen the video. Oh, it was crazy. I got a picture of it. I'll probably put up on my page. You guys get to see it. Kemp, his brother Kemp, his half brother, does not like him. He said that's not the brother that I knew. But he does not agree either with of his corporate attitude and that he's harming people. Kemp does not like this. He says this is not where I came on board. I said I'm not going to support my brother whatsoever, and he's not. So and Kemp's been pretty honest. He's been telling everybody what's really going on. He's telling them as much as he knows, but he's told his brother, somebody's got some pretty heavy stuff on you, and you're still carrying on what you're doing. Stop this. And Trudeau told his brother, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm doing this right to the end. Yeah. His Liberal Party always knew the truth. Yes, it's true. He already knew the truth. In fact, he was scooping people out of his Liberal Party because a few years ago, to get rid of Jody Wilson-Raybould and all them, because Jody Wilson was not going to be corrupted. You got the SNC-Lavalin issue, you got the WE issue. Those are both pedophile organizations. Okay, that's how deep it was, and he wanted her to protect those two corporations, and she says, no, I'm not. She's not going to lie for him. Never did. So he asked her to step down. He wanted nothing to do with her. But there was a few more people in the Liberal Party that actually walked away. They weren't going to get caught in corruption at all, because they already knew one day Mr. Trump was going to be, or Mr. Trudeau was going to, or Mr. Trump was going to come and collect them. And he did. So that's how it was going to work. Oh yeah, this is getting. There's going to be a lot of things happening, folks. I mean, I don't. Pierre Poilievre. I listened to Pierre's words of saying, if you guys join me in my party and we'll make this redo again, join my party, But then he did say something about the COVID, that we won't make this happen, but he said, or he won't carry this further, we'll shut this down. I don't trust him. There's more to this. Okay. Queen Romana is stating we're martial law. No, she's not. We're not martial law. There's no martial law yet. I already know what martial law is. That's not what martial law is. There are people actually saying that they're convinced that she's part of a side group of the Liberal Party. So I don't know much about her at all. I mean, I don't know what's going on in this part, but I think it's possible that she may have been corrupted. We don't know. We won't know until after. Now, mind you, if she's playing this, if she's supposed to play this game, I really did not appreciate her burning the flag. We do have a flag that we stand behind, and why would you want to burn something that you stood behind to represent a country? Even though our country has been bankrupted, and even though Canada really is not even a country anymore, that actually is just a name. By law, back in 1984, our country went bankrupt and actually is not being considered as a country, because the people that were in government back in 84 basically bankrupted it. And Pierre Elliott Trudeau had something to do with it. That's his father. So the thing is that you weren't supposed to know what's going on in this country, and they were trying to play around with this. So let's put it this way. Let's not depend on her. Let's depend on each other. Okay? Let's depend on each other, that we need to do something for ourselves to get back our country. We don't need someone to try to say, I'm a queen and I'm going to take over your country. By honesty, I can turn around and say, I'm going to take this country. Why? Because I got royal blood as well. My great-great-grandfather actually was the king of Austria. And I could come in this country. My great-great-grandfather and his brother, my great-great-grandfather passed away on the ship on the way to Canada, but his brother married his wife, and then he carried on within the families. I can turn around and say, I'm the king, and I'm going to take over this country. I got royalty in my family too. And that's a Alexa on my dad's side. I can say that. But why? Why do you want to be a king or a queen of a country? Why not just be a representative for the people? There's a difference. There is a big difference. I mean, it's okay to be my father, my dad. I said to my dad, I said, you should go to Austria and look for your relatives, our relatives. And he goes, no way. Because my father thinks that if he went to Austria to go visit those relatives, he thought that they'll come and take him away and put him in jail. That's how bothered my father was. Yeah. So I had to look at what I saw through her first. And sure, she was and is in the military, but we don't know. There's always something here that people are like, she diving back and forth. Now there are people that actually came on along with her on the ride in her little or her camper trailer thing, and they said that she was acting weird. Well, if they're saying that she's acting weird, not being who they expected to be, then no citizen of any country, no matter what it is, you don't burn your own flag. Unless there was a prime minister or a head leader that made that flag and said, we're going to fly this now. There's a difference. And I've seen some countries actually fly a new flag but they also don't want to fly the new flag under a British Commonwealth, nor under any corporation. And actually they did it in Africa. It happened about 6 months ago. They were flying under a new flag. No, sorry, not Africa. I think it's Haiti. But they're flying under a new flag. But some of the people that have been there all their lives, they're saying, well, they're used to being under the British Commonwealth, but now they're realizing after that the contract between the British Commonwealth was actually a seizure of land, not a willingness of the land to the people. And that's exactly what happened here in Canada. The British Commonwealth came in under a seizure of territory because the First Nations here were here before them. So why shouldn't the First Nations have some sort of symbol of their own, especially in the East Coast? That should be their symbol. That flag should be flown there from that symbol here. And that's why we have the wampum belts. That's why we have so many different stories that are passed on from generation to generation to talk about who and what our real true history is. My grandmother is from the Bear River Reservation on my mom's side. But that's all I know. I know some history of what happened to her, but that's all I know. I can only tell you so much, but the Canadian government won't tell you the whole truth because they hid that away. They don't want you to know what's going on in the past. There's so much corruption in this country that our country has had. It's got some very nasty, dark places and dark stories. Many politicians and people that want to be in government that have been corrupted. Okay. And right now, as we speak, these guys are calling for the military and the veterans to support the Freedom Truckers. They're having that board meeting now as we speak. They're asking, or earlier tonight, they're asking, this is the board of the truckers, Freedom Truckers 2022. They're asking for the Freedom Truckers. They're asking them the military and the veterans to come and support them. And you know what? They will. They'll help. It happened before. Other countries where the police abused the citizens, that the military were there to observe it first until they started seeing the police officers beating the citizens, that the military came in and went after the cops. And they told them, you can't do that. They went after the cops. The next thing you know, there was a fight between the military and the police officers. That was the coolest thing ever seen on video. Okay. Well, everyone has a thought. They're saying, like, I think Shadula was a plant by the White House to expose the truth about her. You know what? It's possible. Very possible. We have to find out what we need to see the truth. I mean, I'll tell you, there's so many things I've seen. Like, I trust Jean. I trust my intel. If Jean said that she's real, that she was sent there for a reason, but he didn't say why. He said she was sent there for a reason. So we have to find out. Eventually it's going to happen. Newfoundland took out the government years ago. Yes. You know what? Most people may not realize even Alberta is not even a province. It's a country. Did you know that? The provinces of Alberta itself, the province or province of Canada, is actually a country of its own, just like Quebec. It is its own country. It never signed any contract with the government. None. It can be its own country. Every province could be its own sovereign. It doesn't have to be a country. Every province. So you'll find out, folks. Do your research. It's worth your while. Okay. There are some people actually going to a new website called Gitter, Gittr. Gittr. It's a social network. This social network actually was created by Donald Trump's people. The Donald. His people made this Gittr. It's a social network. Okay, social media. It's a little similar to Instagram. A little similar to Instagram, but have a look and see what you guys think. If you think you're comfortable with it, use it. Right. Also, one thing I don't appreciate too is now the mayor of Ontario is trying to get the public to believe that the children are being abused by the truckers, having to stay in their trucks all the time, and they're calling it abuse. Let me tell you guys something. These men and women, these are mothers and fathers, both parents, not just one father alone, but his parents. They took their children with them because the children wanted to go with their mom and dad. They want to be there, whether they're with dad or mom, but they wanted to be there. They want to be there to support what's going on. These kids have already experienced the lockdown for those years. Those kids are tired of being forced to wear masks all the time. Those kids were so upset the fact that now the government's trying to tell them that they have to be jabbed or they can't go to school, or they got to be jabbed because they can't do anything anymore. No more sports unless they get jabbed. Children. Do you know who the abusers are? Not your truckers. It's your government. They want to put a mandatory, not mandatory. Mandatory is not even a law. They want to make it basically where it is that it's going to be mandatory law that every individual has to be, even unvaccinated, has to be jabbed, or you go to jail. You go to an internment camp. That's what they wanted. That's what Trudeau wanted to do. He already had these internment camps built. They're built already. They're not occupied yet. The only thing that Trudeau's ever done so far, he's actually scooping people out of their flights from coming from other countries. He's not telling anything, but he's scooping families from when they land in Canada, especially in Ontario, and they're taking them to hotels, and they're forced to stay there for a whole month with no communication between each other for a whole month. That's like an internment camp. And the food is horrible. And the people, there's a couple people that have tried to escape the hotel. They're trying to escape a hotel to go home. And you think Trudeau, and you think that's okay? You guys really think that's okay? Oh, no, well, they're actually placed there because it's for our protection. No, it's not. They want to see how far they can abuse you, and you let them get away with it. Catherine says, I was raised by a trucking family, and it's very normal to be around trucks, gas and diesel. Yeah. My sister was working for a fuel station. She was a manager of a station, and all she did is do diesel trucks all the time, all her life. Her and her husband were truck and tractor pullers when they did all these events. I was around tractors all my life on the farm. There's nothing dangerous about it. But this is what the CBC is doing right now. CBC and APTN and anybody else that's going downtown, and they're trying to do a news story, and they'll have some little jerk pretend to think that he actually is a trucker, and he's not. Well, I just saw a video the other day, yesterday. There actually was a guy who got into someone's truck. Here, listen to this. This guy got into someone's truck, but he's an actor. Whoever he was hired by CBC. Got into someone else's truck, pretended that he actually was being interviewed as a trucker. And then the CBC said to the guy, do you believe that you used to support the truckers that are actually in Ontario, Ottawa, for their freedom? And he goes, no, I don't think so. He says, we don't need that. Just do what you do. Do what the government tells you. It's much safer that way. And after the filming, whoever filmed it, but this is what I like about this, there was another person on the outside that did the filming. And the guy did this. He came in the truck, came back out. Thank you for your time. And here's some money. Take off. And then the real trucker comes back and goes, what the fuck is going on here? How come this guy, sorry, my words, what's this guy doing in my truck? Oh, well, we were showing him, we wanted to find out what it's like to be in a truck. See what I mean? So the thing is that CBC is going to do anything they can to bleed a story. Now, there's a young lady who I actually I shared with you her page on my True North page, and you'll see her. She actually was a director of Global Television here in Vancouver. She got fired for questioning about her questions were when they're talking about the young women that were supposed to be pregnant, having their babies, and every baby was born stillbirth. And there was too many stillbirths in a matter of a couple of days before when they get to the hospital. When they're in the hospital, then they're forced to get the jab. Then after the jab, the babies are born dead. Too many all at once. Gee, guys, excuse me, what's this mean? And so she was questioning this. She wasn't there to represent the company that would represent Global. She was there as a private citizen to find out what's going on. But yet there was a person that recognized her from TV, and they asked her, you look familiar. Oh, yeah, I work for Global. And she said, I got to get to work. And she says, the girl got excited. So meantime, whoever it was that recorded her had her on film saying that Global was there, but she was asking questions, but she wasn't doing it in a negative way. Next thing you know, somehow the video got out to Global. They saw the video. Next thing you know, she gets lectured, saying on their little piece of papers that you got to fill out, and saying that you cannot represent a business or a corporation, cannot represent a corporation. You cannot represent someone unless you get our permission. She didn't go there to represent Global. She went there as a private citizen. But and she did say to the people themselves, why didn't you guys do the story? They were told not to. Why? Because we don't want you to know the truth. You need not to know the truth. Keep your nose out of it. So they fired her. So now she is a whistleblower. We have a one-time global boss, a director, now is on the platform speaking, and she's got her own podcast. Guys, look for her. Here in Vancouver. Okay? She's there. And I'll give you her name. Let's see here. If you don't know of her, you will know now. Her name is Anita Krishna. Anita Krishna. She's called the Mainstream Media Whistleblower, MSM Whistleblower. Look up on her. Go to my Facebook page. You'll see my True North Strong and Free page. And there's two videos. One where she's in the control room and she was interrogated and fired for attending the Freedom Rally. And the second one is where she was at the Freedom Rally after she was fired. Listen to both of her. She's mad because this girl is F-bombing everything. Okay? So the truth is getting out there, guys. I'm not kidding you. The truth is coming out. It's just a matter of that we need to listen to ourselves. Listen to the people around you. It's for real. Don't give up. Let's see here. And I also want to thank you guys both being both chat rooms. I'm in the Facebook as well as YouTube. And if you guys are able to go in either chat room, love to see you both as well to share information. But also, I've got to hear more things I want to say here. So, Pat King. Now, to confirm with you, there is a rumor on the media that Pat King was arrested. No, he's not. Pat King is not arrested. He is as free as a bird as all can be. They're making up stories that he actually was arrested. That's just a rumor. Children threatened to be seized by the federal government. Yeah, they were actually going to send social services to come and grab the kids from all these truckers. That's what they were trying to plan on doing. Ain't going to happen, folks. There was a guy that trying to start something up. CBC was trying to start something up, and there was a trucker. Boy, was he upset. He was upset. He got in their face, nailed him. Okay, police seized. They seized some of the camps, and there were assaults, trooper assaults from the police. I think it was RCMP. I didn't look at the labels there, but I'm noticing one thing. I think it was RCMP. But one thing I did see, or did actually will say, all of these officers that are doing the assault attacks, they're not giving you their names, nor they'll give you their numbers. They refuse to. If they're not identifying themselves, that means that this is considered as a war. You guys know that, right? When a person does not identify themselves as a citizen with a name or number, I don't care a crap, then they're considered they're actually at war, because they're actually sneaking up on you and attacking you. It's considered war. So this is actually under the Geneva Convention. Let's see here. What else is coming up? Oh, yes, I want to share this with you guys. I thought that was really cool to see this. And Gene shared this with everybody. These last few months, there has been over 800,000 children rescued in the U.S. Approximately in total, out of all across the world, was 40 to 60 million children that were rescued by Trump's people, Special Alliance military group. They've been rescuing these kids. There's 40 to 60 million. He's got special forces that have been bringing these kids home. And a lot of them were deep underground. This has been going on for the last few years, and Trump's been helping to get these kids rescued home. But this past year, 2022, they've already rescued well over 800,000 children. So you guys need to know that. This man's for real. He's not kidding around. Okay, President Trump is not kidding. He's not kidding you. This is what he's trying to do. He wants you to have your freedom. Now, I want to leave you guys a little bit of a thought before I forget, and that is this. I'm going to drop this on you guys. I'm going to say what your thoughts are. But I had a dream. And I had a dream about the United States merging with Canada. That we become both countries together. I've got a very, very funny, strong feeling that Canada will merge with the United States. And that this is long after Biden gone. But when Trump takes over as the original president, 19th president of the new Republic of the United States, we will become a republic in Canada. And I think very strongly that, something's going to happen that we will be both. So I think we're going to merge. And if we do you know what? It wouldn't hurt, because we speak English. We're all the same race. We're all the same people. We're not speaking any other foreign language. We're no longer under the British Commonwealth. The Queen's no longer part of us anymore. So we are free people. We're actually a sovereign country. So I strongly feel that this is going to happen, that it'll make it even more stronger for all of us to work together. Sure, Canada did fight to protect this country at earlier years when the British were trying to conquer the White House, attack the White House, when the French were helping United States, but um, the British, basically, there was one woman who actually was, she's the one that made sure that they weren't going to attack or be able to get into this country. And then Laura Secord was well known. She's well known for her chocolates, right? So, yeah, good for you. Um, so there's a lot of things I'm seeing that's going to happen. I strongly feel it's going to move ahead, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing it happen. Like I said before earlier, folks, I was a little bit late getting into this do the show, but I really want to give you guys a little bit of update what really is happening. So like I said before, the Give Send Go, okay, this new page, GoFundMe will be charged under the Florida government. The governor of Florida is going to be charging. They'll be charged under a federal act. It could possibly be what you call extortion, and it could be something else as well. So that business is going to be shut down. GoFundMe's gone. They're going to be taken out completely because they shouldn't have ever agreed to work together with any other country outside of GoFundMe. And like they're based in the United States out of Florida, then why should they be saying, okay, we'll do what you say in Ontario? That's wrong. Okay. Yes, it's going to be really cool. Let's see here. Also, the police in Ontario, where there's talk of them bringing in a locking system that no one could be using their cell phones. That was rumors. Here's the thing. They will try to put out leaks as long as they can save money and not have it happen. They're trying to make it like as if yours the original. I remember back in the States when Obama was in government and he sent out a bunch of sheriffs to attack a bunch of First Nations people on the reservation, and all the people came in from all directions to protect the land because that was all sacred burial sites. It was sacred ground. And Obama signed this to actually make this happen. And then they realized after that he didn't want to shame himself. And then when Trump came into presidency, Trump had no idea what was going on. But by that time, Obama decided to let go of that signature and say, okay, now it's Trump's problem. It's Trump's fault. But it never was. It was Obama that actually did the attack. He called all those attacks in after the First Nations people. Okay, so what else is there? I think we're good so far. CBC. I always say, guys, as much as you possibly can, stay away from CBC. Don't even pay attention to them. If you do, just observe, but don't be fooled. And I don't trust APTN anymore. When they lied, I went too far. And the other rumor is that the truckers left Ottawa. No, they did not. They're still there. Truckers did not leave. They're still there. They're observing the areas, and then in fact, there was a video of Pat and George out there, and they're going around all the areas that there was rumors saying that there was camps set up, and they're going to arrest people and place them in this and then. None of that ever happened. None of that ever existed. So they're just trying to get you all scared. Now, one thing I want to share with you guys, I think it was kind of cool, kind of funny, because I actually lived in a small town for a couple of years, and we could be on the farm. There's a town called Didsbury, Didsbury, in Alberta. This is back in the, I would say early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And I wanted to do some research on the history of our town that I once lived. And the funny thing is, there's a website, and there's a guy that's narrating it, talking about the history of the Didsbury. Well, here's one part that I thought was kind of funny. There was a young woman who actually, she was an ice dancer, or she basically is an ice skater, and well known in the Olympics or the sport. Her name is Karen Garasino. Well, Karen Garasino actually is her aunt is Claire Boussier, who's a singer and artist, and she's also, her name's called Grimes, Grimes. But the cool part is that Karen Garasino married Elon Musk. She was the first wife. See how small little world is, folks? Little world, how small it is. Now, one more thing when I'm bringing this up. There is a young man by the name of Terry Fox. When I remember Terry Fox when I was young, I was the same age as him. And when I was young, hardly anybody knows about this because I never did share any stories, but I knew Terry Fox. I knew him personally. And we used to go ride around in my truck off the farm. I used to go pick him up and go for rides. And then Terry was told he had cancer, and I'd lost contact with him. So Terry decided he wanted to do a walk for cancer. He started this idea with his mom to do a walk for cancer, and he's supported by his father. Our Canadian government became very, very evilish about it because they even kiboshed Terry Fox's walk run is because the RCBC back then even said, oh, well, we don't know Terry. He's probably going to take the money all for himself. It's going to be selfish. And they just tore him up. They tore Terry down like he was a piece of crap. You guys think that Terry Fox was the hero at the very beginning. No, he wasn't. Terry Fox was picked on just like the Truckers' Freedom Run. Same thing. They went after him and tore him down. Our prime minister then hated Terry Fox. They wanted to put a stop to it. But what happened after Terry Fox passed away, or before he passed away? The Canadian government asked Terry, would you be interested in doing a Terry Fox Foundation? Canadian government. Sure. So basically, Terry Fox Foundation for Cancer. And the Canadian government came on board. Think about it, folks. Then they made Terry Fox a hero. Statues everywhere. Terry Fox was, and his statue in front of Ottawa was never, and there's actually a Terry Fox statue downtown Vancouver here. And I see it all the time. But here's the thing. The Freedom Truckers never, ever, ever disgraced Terry Fox's statue. Ever. That was your Antifa people that were hired by CBC to do some little damages and make it look as if they were disrespecting him. It had nothing to do with it. Every day, whenever it's possible, people stand by next to Terry Fox's statue, take pictures, and thanking Terry Fox for his spirit and his will to be who he is or was then. There's flowers. There's more adorned flowers under his statue now than ever before. But here's the thing about the Canadian government you guys don't know. All that money that went to cancer does not go to the cancer. All of it, most of it goes to the Canadian government. They use that money. They don't use it for for cancer research, not all of it. Because in 1932, they passed an act, a medical act, a health act, and it is illegal to cure cancer. Think about it, guys. Terry Fox was just a sideline investment, just for them. They use that money for other things. They don't use it for cancer. Oh, sure, they'll keep on making people wanting to make all kinds of little, well, we're going to do some research here. There are so many Canadian cancer organizations everywhere. They want people to do running for cancer, hop, skip, and jumping for cancer, take off your bras for cancer, whatever the kind of cancer you want to do. But you notice that by the time every cancer organization should have been in the riches by now for years and years and years. There already was a cure. And there was a couple of people that actually did have that. But guess what? Who stopped it? Our government. 3 doctors back in 5 years ago, 6 years ago. 3 doctors in Alberta were arrested. 3 medical doctors found the cure for cancer. Okay, they did. And they got arrested. They were being charged for curing cancer. They went to court. They had a lawyer, but they went to court, and they should have won. They should have walked away scot-free. But because the government had stated, they said, and one of the doctors had said, why are you sentencing us to go to prison? We have the cure for cancer. Why are you wanting to send us to jail? And they said, this is their answer. This is what they said. This is what our government said. We do not want the cure. You're going to prison. All 3 of you are being sentenced to 10 years in the penitentiary. 10 years. They're still there. Now, you really want to trust your Canadian government? Look it up, guys. Look up your Canadian law, your medical laws. It is illegal to cure. In fact, you can't even use that name. You can't even, if you wanted to do a health business and you created something that you can actually help people out with. Okay? Your chemotherapy is rat poison. Not always rat poison, sorry. The chemotherapy is the same chemical that was used in the Auschwitz camp to kill the Jews in the showers. Same chemical. That's what killed one of my best friends. Debbie Bennett, my friend Debbie Bennett, she never died. They overdosed her on the chemotherapy. They kept shooting back in her, and the next thing you know, she says, I got 5 minutes, and she did her will very quickly and gave her husband the signing of the will real quick, 5 minutes, and she went into coma, and she died. Just like that. Because they shot too much chemo in her, and they weren't supposed to do that. She wasn't hurting. Oh, no, you need to have more chemo. There's nothing wrong with her. She was getting better. They killed her. They murdered her right in that room, in her own home. And I was mad. I was blazingly mad. I was there to help do a eulogy, to help support a eulogy for my friend Debbie. I loved her dearly. She's like a little sister. And she was a damn good medium. But this is the problem. They knew who she was. They knew she saw the future. And she actually said to them what's going to happen in the future, and they silenced her. She talked about what's going to happen, that the chemo will no longer exist anymore, that all this crap chemical was going to end up being taken out and never be in existence in the next few years. And she's right. Because by next year, our doctors and nurses will be retrained, going back into alternative meds. Alternatives. No more pharmaceuticals. They're gone. No painkillers. They're gone. That word, that letter, that one word, C-U-R-E, will be there for everyone. And that's why I got kicked out of YouTube earlier, months back, because they told me what I could not say, because they're anagramming your voice. That's why everybody out there has to freaking spell it. Why should we be fearful of saying words that should be truthful or that should be shared in public? Because they don't want you to know the truth. They're hired, they're paid to make sure that you are blocked or they ghost you out. I've got pages on my Facebook page. I've got my True North Strong and Free page set up. Okay. And I'll put things in there. And next thing you know, a couple of days later, they're getting ghosted out. Like there's blank, just pure white. They don't want the public to see the truth. Why? Because you're getting too close, especially even the trucker stuff. Any videos that I see people that are doing, and I strongly support it, I'll drop it in there for others to see. The True North Strong and Free page. Join it. And if there's anything you guys have any information that we don't know about, drop it into yourself. Join up. Be part of that. Be a part of the group. The True and Strong and Free page is very, very important. And because I want people to share the truth. I want them to share a story. Anything you experience yourself, whether you did it once, twice, or 3 times, at least you get to see what's going on. If you're not on Facebook, if you're on, say, Telegram, I have another page the same way. Join. It's simple, just like that. There was a couple of pages that I was trying to send information to through Telegram. I got booted out. Next thing you know, Telegram was not allowing me to send any information to any groups. They said because I was handing them stuff that they don't want to see. But then don't freaking accept me as a friend then. Or if I can't comment, then screw you. I don't need anybody to tell me what I can and cannot do. I'm trying to share the truth. Nothing more. I give you guys the truth. I tell you straight up to your face exactly what I see. I'm a person that sees the future. If I see the future, I'm going to show you exactly what I see. I don't pull punches anymore. Yeah, Pat King just said, looks like someone tried to shut me down. Not today, Satan, not today. I'll tell you why, because I went to Pat's page today on Facebook, and Facebook removed everything that he's been doing, sharing of all the months of February. So now all there is just January. Anything, and there's not anything that has nothing to do with the trucks. It's been taken out. Pat did not remove them. So they've on the Ontario people, your Canadian government is erasing people's information, and they're trying to lock people out from sharing information. But guess what? The more you try and lock us out, we'll find another way around the corner, because we are still alive. And I'm not, like Pat says, I can't be angry with you. I can't be angry. I can't hate them, because you can't kill us. You can't stop us. We are free people. But they're going to try. They're going to try. And ain't going to happen, guys. All right. We have a future. Everyone does. No child should ever think about wanting to commit suicide. And there were children between the ages of 7 to 8 years of age up to 14 that wanted to commit suicide because they're told that they have to get the jab. And these kids are smart. They have already been seeing what's going on. They're going like, Mom, I don't want the jab. Oh, you got to go, sweetheart. You got to go and get that jab. If you don't, you can't. You'll never get it. You'll never get an education. Well, then teach me, Mom. I'll do it at home. I can't. I got to work. How are we going to do this? So the kid goes in depression. End up losing their lives. Now, does the government do anything about it? And in the meantime, the parent suffers because they've already lost their child. And so they say to the government, my child died because of you. And what does the government do? Oh, well, you weren't responsible enough to take care of your child. Yeah. Yeah, like Pat King said, I remember that one. Yeah, Pat said the government also made sure that Pat cannot send or receive e-transfers. Pat can he can send e-transfers. I got some ideas. But again, you can always try another bank account that they don't know about that's invisible. Think about it, folks. Right? Their goal is to kill people. Their goal is to remove us. You got to remember, folks, one thing. There was a handshake between Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci with Justin Trudeau. I've seen their handshake, and the handshake is that they actually were willing to go 100% and he's actually in to join the Bill and Melinda Gates Depopulation Center. Listen to the name, Depopulation Center. Justin makes money on one thing only. Every time that jab is out there and he's trying to get you to take the jab, That's money for him in his pocket. You're his investment. Same as Bill Gates. Same with Dr. Fauci. Bill Gates actually owns all the Costco's and all the he owns all the Costco's and all the Walmarts. Why do you think he's actually going into? Why do you think the Walmarts and the Costco's are talking about no more cashiers, that you have to do it yourself? And there's actually Amazon has already started its brand new stores that you come in with a grocery cart, and it has a little USB machine, ISBN machine, and as you're putting the food into the shopping cart, it automatically charges you. So it does its own tally total after you're about to leave. And if you don't want that pack or change your mind, just take it out, put it back on the shelf. There's nobody in the store that can access to steal food. They're all behind glass doors. Once you reach in, take out, it automatically goes right to your bank account. They make sure they track you, whatever you buy. Amazon's doing this right now, folks. They're tracking everything that you buy for food. These are their new stores. All these other stores are going to do the same thing. One lady said to me, that's about 5 years on the road. And I said, no. In 1 year, that was their goal. Every shopping center was going to be doing the same thing. They're saying, well, we need to upgrade our machines, our cash machines and all these little guns. No, they're not going to update them because they're getting rid of you. You're gone. They're going to take you out, away from your job. You're not going to work for this company anymore. You're no longer working for any stores. The only people, there'll be people that will be stocking. That's it. They're hiring stalkers, but that's it. Right? That's all they're going to do. There's a video. Watch the video. There shows you right there. And again, it's all glass doors, and has these numbers, but they won't let you open the glass door unless you have the jab, the passport, because you'd be going like this. Okay, come and get that. And it goes in your cart. By the time it's tallied up, there's no cash transaction. Automatically takes money in your bank account. That's it. So like I said, folks, if you don't know what you're going to get into. You think that you have say in this, then do something about it. Don't sit there and look around going, well, I think I'll stay at home and I'll wait till this is over. You got to participate. You got to take action. I don't care how far you go, whether you're even locally in your own community. Join those groups of people that actually are at these rallies. Be there supportively with them, because this is what they're looking for. We need to we have to be out there to rally in the thousands, into the millions. There's other European countries that are doing this right now. And yet the mainstream media will say, and they'll turn the camera sideways and, there's only a couple hundred people. That's it, a couple hundred people. There isn't a couple hundred people. Millions of people. Once those videos are out there for millions of people to see, those millions, that gives them gives them motivation that we want to do this. How did it make you feel for the first day when the truckers came out there for the first day and they were on that road, and it started off with British Columbia? People were out there in the area where I live, and they're out there by the hundreds over the overpass bridge, and they had Canadian flags, you name it, the whole 9 yards, cheering them off to head to Ottawa. I bet you that felt real good. And the Ontario boys got very, very worried, because they knew that this next trip to Ottawa was the same trip that took place back in the 1950s. And they tried to stop him in Regina, and they did, because they beat the living crap out of them. But this time, it wasn't sitting on top of a train to get to Ottawa. They were in trucks. And They went out there in the thousands, right? And the guys are out there every day, supporting. I mean, even Pat King himself says, I'm tired, but I don't think about being tired. He says, I'm exhausted. He said yesterday he finally had to get some rest. He said he was burnt because he's got a prosthetic leg. Think about this, guys. This man's on a prosthetic leg, and you guys think he's out there, he can do whatever I want, and da-da-da-da. He's on a prosthetic leg, and he's still fighting for you. He's helping you. He's fighting for you, but he's giving you guys some motivation. Get off your ass and do something. Share anything and everything. Right? Still keep on emailing or phoning your government and tell them how you feel, that what they should not be doing to stop all this mandatory crap. Let us have our lives back. 2 years is enough. Over 2 years is enough. You already guys are beginning to see, you've already seen the truth already. There are more people in the hospitals that actually have the jabs that are sick. Why? Because the first one and the second one was put there specifically was the COVID. It was placed in there because you weren't getting sick enough. There's hardly anybody in the hospital, hardly a person in the hospital when they did the lockdown the first time. You know why? Because you guys got to take care of yourselves and you fixed the problem. It took a VITE, it took a VITC, and some ZINC, and some kombucha, and you got over it in 3-4 days. It's called a cold and a flu. But they made it to make you believe that it was a deadly one. Oh, you're going to die. Do I look like a deadly one to you? When I tell people that I'm not jabbed, I've never seen so many people like, do you know who started that? Fauci. He started it. He made people believe to be deathly afraid, and the ones that became deathly afraid are the ones that are so convinced that this is the real thing. Oh, we are at war. It's the real thing. It's not the real thing. It's a waste of freaking time. But a lot of it is a distraction. And the reason why it's a distraction also, too, that gives Donald Trump and his special alliance forces to go and rescue these kids from underground. There's underground cities that got invaded, and they rescued these kids and brought them home by the thousands. Those are coming into the chat room. And if you haven't listened to the whole thing, watch this program, review it. Please share it as much as you possibly can. Okay, let's get started, guys. We need to do some readings here. So if anybody wants to call in and get a reading, you're more than welcome to. Now, also, Melissa says, so many people are so scared out there, and even though Jason Kenney lifted restrictions, they're still scared. Why? Because Jason Kenney is also scary. By the way, Mr. Kenney will be picked up soon, and because he capitulated, by the way. That's why Jason Kenney. Now, they're trying to make people believe that, if you lift all these little restrictions, that's going to be over. I drove by the area where they actually people still sticking the sticks up their noses. And I remember Bonnie Henry, who's the health authority here in BC, and she said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. They're still doing it. There's someone saying they're not doing it, but they're doing it. And my wife says, well, some of the stations are shut down. No, sweetheart. She said, no more stations to be tested anymore. No more testings. And they didn't do it. So somebody's playing the game of saying, well, we'll make you think it's not happening, but it is. And there's still lineups. They're still scared to this day. I'm waiting for you guys to get number 8 when you get a free pizza. Okay. Catherine says most of the people in my town don't wear one to wear a mask. Good. And they shouldn't. Why? 1918, guys, think about that history. Check it out yourself. 1918, that particular one was the my blank is a blank. They had a blank all of a sudden. They call it like it's like the swine flu, but they gave it a name from another country, and a foreign country, and it wasn't. But anyways, they had did the same thing to the people back in 1918. My brain will get back into it again. And what happened was you'll see photographs, and people are going to turn around. They're going to say, you'll see some of the pictures and photographs, and one of them is actually said on the sign. It says, "Wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, you go to jail." And people are actually being arrested and sent to jail for 6 months for not wearing a mask. 80%, 85% of the people that died of the Spanish flu, thank you, Spanish flu, okay, didn't die of the Spanish flu. They died wearing the mask. Too much of the mask, which is complete bacteria. You built up so much bacteria wearing it all day, every day, all day, every day. You're putting bacteria back in your gut. You wonder why you're coughing so much. You're not feeling very well. You get sicker and sicker and sicker to the point it turns itself into pneumonia. And then they're saying, oh, guess what you got? It's from wearing your mask. Fauci and Bill Gates invented this because it's what they did when they were actually Freemasons. Okay, they're Freemasons. And they use the same idea as the same idea that what the Freemasons do, being 6 feet apart. It's part of their routine. That's a demonic and it's satanic. It's a routine, 6 feet apart. The reason why you have to wear a mask as well is because so they can use the machine off the camera to actually recognize your eyes, not your face. So basically it's your retina. They'll actually tell where you've been and what you've been doing and how much you bought, what you've had, where you've been, that sort of thing. That's where it all is. Oh, okay. Catherine says, I shared a post of on that yesterday when they came out with yeah, it did. I'm telling you, this happened. Let's see. I was there yesterday on the SkyTrain. I was stared at yesterday in the SkyTrain. Just looked at him and said tisk tisk, and I was highlighting about wearing a mask, cards, putting them in the stands on the walls in the SkyTrain. Yeah. Again, whatever you guys can, just let people know the truth. They need to know the truth. Don't go into an argument. Just say, look, why do you wear a mask? Like, why are you guys wearing a mask? What's the purpose of being 6 feet apart? Who told you have to be 6 feet apart? And I'll tell you guys this. Do you realize that these 6 feet aparts, these little stickers they have on the floor for the stores, those are actually pre-ordered a year to 2 years before this whole thing ever came about. Do you know that? The printing companies were actually told to have these manufactured and be ready to be made and delivered to all of these corporate stores. So then they'll be placed onto the floor and areas, okay, a year to 2 years ahead of time. Why? And the person that actually was the major person that was involved that to make all of these, especially in Ontario, and that is Doug Ford. Doug Ford owns a printing company, and he made millions of dollars on those signs in Ontario. And he knew about this 2 years previously before, and he knew what this is about. He already knew. He was already told ahead of time what was going to happen, because he follows the same idealism as Trudeau. You think Ford was a good guy? He was corrupt. Both him and his brother was as corrupt can be, because they were part of a mafia in Ontario years ago when they were younger. Yeah, they were patented. Yeah, the jabs were patented in 2012. They were already pre-made. They already had this all made ahead of time, folks. I'm not kidding you. This is not kidding around. Yep. You guys, everything you guys in the chat room is exactly right. Okay, Yes, underlying health problems, and then yeah, it did kill him, Catherine. So I tell people now. I know very well there's going to be people out there that are going to be absolutely scared now. Those that actually have been jabbed, and they're going to say, "I hate you, Derek, because you're. How do we know you're not sharing?" Okay, let me tell you this. There is a CORE for all that too. The real natural that'll fix what they shoved into you. There is that available to clean it out of you, but you have to find out from the people that know how to do it. Make an effort, because right now, and I will say this, the people that are already jabbed, the three, especially the third, are the carriers, and the third is the AIDS. Fauci made sure that you become the carrier, and it's all over the internet now because they're saying now, oh, all of a sudden it showed up. Gee, I wonder why, because they planted in your arm the third one. Yes, you're right. The blue masks have parasites and asbestos. The blue ones. Yep, they do, because they came from China and they made them that way. They also, in some of the masks, they actually had the implanted, dehydrated, it's called the kamikaze hookworm. And once they get activated by using the heat of your breath, they get breathed into your throat, and they start eating away your skin and your larynx. And that's where you get the dry coughs. I've seen the videos. I've seen the scientific, the real stuff, how it gets those kamikaze hookworms. Look up the word, type in the word kamikaze hookworm. You'll see what they look like. Not pretty. Okay, a lot of stickers and signs are made by a certain sign company, owned by, guess who? Yeah, Doug Ford. It's true. Yeah. Doug Ford actually was the one that he actually has a sign company in Ontario, big one, and he that's all he was doing is making those signs. And he made them 2 years previously before, and all the companies here. I asked the guys who was the ones that make these signs, and they said that here's the contract. And I said, well, when do they ask you to make these signs? And they said, here's what they said. One guy shows me. I said, do you mind if I see your invoice when those were ordered? They were ordered January of 2017. January of 2017, from one of the stores, one of the printers. And I said, how many did you make? How many did you have to make? They said, lots. But they got a deal, and that company didn't have the doors, didn't even have to stay open for the public. That's all they were making all the time. They were making more money making those stickers and signs on the floor and wherever they're supposed to be, signage everywhere. They were busy for 2 years straight until everything came. They couldn't understand what they're all for. They thought, well, what's it for? They thought it was for, somebody said, you don't need to know, but we'll let you know later on. They never asked. Some people did. One person did ask. Sorry, I was told this. One person did ask, but he lost his job. They let him go. He was not allowed to know. So, but apparently this contract was under the federal government. It was not a personal contract. It was a federal government contract. So they would order their orders per month, whatever they need, and then, whoever came to pick them up, shipped them out. Big truck. Now that's just one of the areas. Think about the rest, right? So think about this, folks. This is not something new that just came out saying, oh, guess what? We have this. Okay, we'll make these signs. Everything was pre-set. They already they had a meeting in Germany. They had a whole bunch of people that pretend to be these actors, play these roles. Whoever played a general and the whole 9 yards. And they play these like as if you're ready to make a movie. And they're all playing the game, playing the little story to act it out, to see how people were reacting. If anybody need any advice, what to do, what to say. These other actors had no idea what they got themselves into. But when they found out later what this whole thing was all about, I don't know if they're around. Maybe they're not. Maybe they were silenced. I don't know. But I do know this because I've seen the video of them that was recorded, what they were supposed to say to the public, or between each other, interacting about what to say to the public in the media. So this has all been preset. Everything's been preset, all into play. And then there are other people that took on those roles, actors, you name it, the whole 9 yards. And then they had Hollywood come on board. Hollywood joined in. Oh, yes. Hollywood joined in. And they got paid well to do it too. A lot of them were actually part of a satanic organization. And so they were told to do, what to say. And they did. That's why, think about this, folks. Have you guys noticed there are very, very few Academy Award-winning movies lately? And especially if you're actually going on a channel, your movie channel on your cable, and you're looking for, like, you're trying to find some movies. Normally you always find all these great actors and doing all kinds of movies, and all of a sudden you're going like, B-roll, 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 C-roll. No, I've never seen it before. Why are there a bunch of East Indian, why is a lot of Bollywood movies in here now all of a sudden? Like, you're going like, okay, what's all this? And like, no disrespect to the Bollywood, but there's all, like, looks so different. Foreign films. What is this? It all looked different. It didn't look like it looked like 2 years ago. Sure, the odd movie, but not all of Hollywood. Hollywood wasn't there anymore. All these movies that you expected to see. And Mel Gibson, yeah, he was doing movies all the way through the whole season because Mel Gibson works with the White Hats. He's the one that's been warning everybody about what's been going on in Hollywood. And then Hollywood had to silence him, so they found a way to make him look like an idiot, so they would make up stuff. And that's exactly how they tried to destroy his reputation. Oh, yeah, they tried. They tried to destroy reputation. But they didn't. And he partially fell for some of it, but he was a witness to it. He didn't realize how bad it was. Then he realized after, I'm not want nothing to do with this anymore. So again, guys, you're going to start seeing some really shady, still leftover shady stuff. But again, Hollywood is, you think Hollywood is still doing their thing out there? If you think you see all these new photographs of people, or photographs of all these actors walking the streets and walking their kids, they're all wearing masks, those are actors. Those aren't the real actors, folks. The main Hollywood elites are gone. They've been scooped out there. Why all of a sudden are all the actors? Here's one for you. Why are all the actors selling their houses all at once? Everyone's house is for sale. All these Hollywood elites, Hollywood actors, all their houses for sale all at once. Not just one or two, 20, 30, 40 houses for sale. Why are they for sale? Because they're gone. They're gone. Hollywood is a ghost town and will always be a ghost town because it will no longer exist. It'll be taken, it'll be removed, or they may rename it. I don't know. Who's playing him? James Woods. That's who's playing him. There's even some famous wrestlers that became bad boys too that are not here. They're not, and some of these people are clones, so they may look like the real actors, but they're what they have. What you may not know, folks, but the government has a way, or the special groups of people have a way of knowing how to. They have a way of, how do you say this correctly? They know how to move the spirit or the memory of that person, and they can transfer from the body to the clone. Okay? And you can tell the difference because they look a little more fuller in the face. They don't dream. Um, they can show some emotion, but they can never cry. So some people have to spray some little water on them to make it look as if they're actually exhausted or crying. I've noticed, for example, Dwayne Johnson. He's not the real Dwayne Johnson. John Cena. When John Cena comes in, do his little thing on, he's doing this. That's the 666. That's because he walks with Satan. There are some actors or some wrestlers that turn wrong, bad, and there are some wrestlers that have died suspiciously, but are not dead because they refuse to go satanic. So you're going to find out. And that will be coming out. A lot of these cool people, I've seen them. I've seen these guys. I was so fortunate to see them in person, or see them on film that someone showed me. And I went, yes. Okay, those of you who follow wrestling, for example, Eddie Guerrero, he's not dead. Just name names, and I'll give you guys names. You think that some of these wrestlers are dead? They're not. And I've got, in fact, where's my list? I will give you my list. I'll show you my list. Lots of papers. Okay. Now, some of you actually just joined me maybe just not too long ago, but there are some famous actors that had to go into protective custody to protect their identity, but also to protect their families, so they had to fake their deaths. And and I guess we say, let's start here. There was a fellow that said, I have a dream. Who do you think that is? I have a dream. Back in the 1960s, 64, 65, Martin Luther King is very much alive. And you ever heard of the lady by the name of Candace Owens? Well, Candace Owens, yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. Candace Owens actually is the granddaughter to Martin Luther King. And he'll be coming out soon with when Trump is reinaugurated. Oh, you're going to start seeing a lot of people. That's his granddaughter. Yeah, Candace Owens is his granddaughter. He has his own daughter and then his granddaughter. Let's see here. Okay. June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash are still alive. Corey Monteith, Johnny Lewis, Freddie Prinze, you remember him? Chico and the Man, the TV series. He's still very much alive. John Bonham, the drummer, is alive. Thurman Munson, Ricky Hendrick, Davey Allison. These are all the people that are alive. Alan Kulwicki, Corey Little, DM Brown, D-I-E-M, Sev Ballesteros, Payne Stewart, Neil Bennett, Glenn Campbell. Remember the country music singer? He's supposed to have had Alzheimer's. Still alive. Let's see here. Who we got? Chadwick Boseman. Remember the Black Panther? No, okay. Well, he's alive. He didn't have cancer. You'll see him soon. Patrick Swayze, Davey Allison, he's actually the NASCAR driver. Dale Earnhardt, NASCAR driver. Chester from Linkin Park Band. Mac Miller from he was a rapper. Kim McLagan was a British model. Antonin Scalia, he was a judge. And Tony Snow, he worked for Bush. He's very much alive. George Bush. Let's see, Corey Haim and Monique, they're both alive. Anthony Bourdain, Davy Jones from the Monkees is alive. Kate Spade, Bill Paxton, Teresa Saldana, Dan Blocker from the Bonanza, Bee Gees. All the Bee Gees are alive, all of them. And let's see here, Ricky Hendrick, which is one of the twins from the NASCAR driver. Aaron Morin from Chico and the Man, or Happy Days. Chris Cornell, singer from the from the band Soundgarden. Now, apparently, there was well over 900 plus famous people that actually were under witness protection. So that's why they're coming forward. They'll be coming forward quite soon after Trump has been inaugurated as the 19th president of the Republic. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Johnny Lewis. These are all alive people, folks. They're supposed to be dead, but they're alive. Selena, Michael Landon, Jackie Kennedy, which is John Kennedy Sr.'s wife. She's very much alive. Trace Atkins, country music singer. Ron Van Zant, Dale Earnhardt, David Canary from Bonanza, Alan Collins from Leonard Skinner. Okay, Dino Connor and Kurt Cobain. They're both alive from the band Nirvana and alive. And Corey Feldman. Kenny Rogers is very much alive. Laura Branigan, the singer that sang the song La Gloria. River Phoenix. Oh, I can hardly wait. Penny Marshall. Sonny Bono. Remember the husband to Cher? Yeah, well, he's alive. But Cher's dead. She's gone. Lady. Okay. Now, I may have mentioned her more or other, not at all, but Lady Diana or Princess Diane is very much alive. She actually is the wife to Donald Trump. She's the original wife. The woman you see is wearing a mask. And the son is actually Diane's birth son. Mm-hmm. It's complicated, but that's how it works. Okay. People are going to freak out when JFK Jr. and Caroline come out. Oh, I know. I've already seen JFK Jr. I've already seen him what he looks like now. So I've seen him, his face. He's a man of a million faces. He's pretty cool. He wears masks all the time to play some of the characters. Jim Morrison, and he's actually very much alive. In fact, he was playing a politician. John Denver, Elvis Presley is very much alive. Elvis Presley actually is a pastor, and so you'll see him come out. Heather Rourke, remember that little girl, Heather Rourke? Let's see here. Tupac Shakur, Michael Jackson's very much alive. John McAfee is very much alive. Let's see. Robin Williams is very much alive. Paul Walker is supposed to have died. He's alive. Prince, okay, and Joan Rivers and Steve Irwin. Corky, he's very much alive. Farrah Fawcett, Gilda Radner, and one of my favorites, Janis Joplin, is very much alive. She is alive and well and kicking, and so is Marilyn Monroe. So you'll be seeing them come out soon. Chris Farley, Tom Petty, Amy Winehouse, Jean-Benet Ramsey, Dana Plato. Now the wrestler, Chris Benoit, and his wife, both of them are very much alive with his child. Cappy, Heath Ledger, Jimi Hendrix, David Carradine, Jean-Benet Ramsey, Britney Spears. Interesting part, Britney Spears actually is, she's already alive, but she's actually is the original. Well, you'll find more about it after. You'll find out. I'm going to leave that one. Anna Nicole Smith, Bill Bixby, who played Dr. Banner and the Hulk. John Lennon, Yoko Ono, very much alive. Well, Cappy was very much alive, yes. In fact, Cappy once in a while comes out and does his thing. I've got some videos of him. Let's see here. What else we got? Oh, yeah. Mickey Mantle, Frank Zappa, Caleb Logan, he's a YouTuber, Grace Kelly, Brad Noel, very much alive, Polly Yakes, Phil Hartman. Polly Yakes actually is a country singer. Phil Hartman, the actor, comedian actor. Mike Starr from the band Alice in Chains. Rick Rude, another wrestler. He said he had was it cancer or heart attack? Yeah, I actually saw him. Oh, yeah. Andre the Giant is very much alive. Let's see, Julian Assange. Now, Julian Assange is here, but he actually, for you guys to know, if you don't know, Julian Assange actually is the son of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. It gets really good. He's the son of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. And yeah, you'll hear more about that soon. Okay. Let's see. Whitney Houston and her daughter. Whitney Houston and her daughter are very much alive. And Patsy Cline. You remember her? She's alive. Natalie Wood is alive. That story was going on for years, saying, what happened to Natalie Wood? She never died. She went overboard, but they said she drowned, but she didn't. She went into hiding. Let's see here. We also got Elizabeth Montgomery, Debbie Reynolds, and her daughter, who actually played her daughter, who's plays in the movie Star Wars. They were both alive. She had to play the crazy girl. Shirley Temple still alive. Bruce Lee, yes, Bruce Lee still alive. Freddie Mercury still alive. Carolyn Bessette, Dennis Wilson, Charlie Daniels, Hank Williams Sr., the original Hank Williams, is very much alive. In fact, I've seen a picture of him or video of him standing next to Donald Trump. Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, James Dean, John Bonham, Peter Jennings, and also the Ultimate Warrior, Roddy Piper, and Chyna. All three wrestlers are very much alive. Okay. Richard Pryor is still alive. I was smiling from ear to ear when I saw that, and they said Richard Pryor is going to be coming back. Yes. So, and no, folks, these are not clones. They're real live actors. Okay, for real. They're not clones. Someone said to me, "Oh, they're clones." No, they're not. They wouldn't waste their time if it was that. Let's see. Payne Stewart, Tim Richmond. Now, some of you guys do know, don't know, but see, Donald Trump actually is not a really Trump. His original birth name is, how do I explain this part? Back in the Second World War, when General George Patton was actually fighting a war against the Germans, and at the time, he got caught up, or I guess a group of people who were higher ups above all of them told him they had to give up his child, I guess like a sacrifice, so to speak, and he refused. So what I understood, the way the story goes, is that he replaced his birth son with another child that was quite sick, that would never recover, and he handed that baby over to those people, and so to speak. But in the meantime, what he had to do is he had to hide Donald and as a baby. So he actually asked the Trump family to adopt him and to tell him later on about who he really is, later on through the years, that he'll be needed in the future. But General George Patton actually is the true birth father of Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So he's a Patton. He was a hero. So it says President Trump's father, George Patton, and Benito Mussolini were the sons of Thomas Todd Lincoln and brothers, which is Abraham Lincoln. They're all related. Donald Trump is related to Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. Okay. Still alive also, Edie Gourmet, Dick Clark. Remember him? Dick Clark. Country music singer Lynn Anderson. Mindy McCready, Marty Feldman. I just saw Marty Feldman just recently in the movie Yellowbeard. And Marty was in it and played one of the pirates. And I always enjoyed Marty's comedy. He was just funny as all heck. Annette Funicello, one of the original Disney girls. She's still very much alive. Joe Cocker, Keith Moon, David Bowie. Yes, folks, he's alive. And he didn't turn bad. Patty Duke, if you remember her. Donna Summers, remember her? And Paul Newman, yes, he's alive. So Newman's own. He was always a giver, and he always loved to help kids out. He was a wonderful person to know. He did a lot of helping of children's organizations, and he donated to a lot of these programs. Let's see what else. Also, Kobe Bryant and the daughter is alive. There's 2 helicopters. One looked like him going in, and then they showed a film of find out later that was a fake film because Kobe and his daughter are very much alive. Mac Davis is alive. David Allison, Glenn Frey, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell. Let's see what I got here. I guess I'm freaking all you guys out right now, right? We're almost there, folks. I will say this, and what I understood, the message is we've got possibly one more. Okay, let's see. George Jones, President Ronald Reagan still alive. Yes, President Ronald Reagan still alive. And Lucille Ball are still alive. Lucille Ball had to go into hiding. She was in danger. But she had to do it to protect her children. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Mama Cass Elliott. She's alive too. Florence Henderson's alive. Jane Mansfield's alive. Mary Tyler Moore is alive. And John F. Kennedy Jr., very much so. And let's see, Chuck Berry, Lula Richard, Jonathan Brandis, Rob Knox, Dana Hill, Lucy Gordon, and Nancy Spungen, Wendy Williams, Shirley Temple, like I said before. Let's see, Mark James, George Klein, Memphis Mafia. These are the guys from the Memphis Mafia. They're very much alive. Let's see what else we got here. I think I've got everybody that is right. I think so. Yep. And there's more. Like I said, there's over 900 people that had to be protected. And they did it for years. And I've actually had people say to me, well, how do they hide? How is it? Where are they able to go? Again, there are some safe areas, truly safe areas that they could not be found. And there's no way they could have found them. And some of them actually will go they'll change their identity and to play maybe another character through the years. and they played that role, and you didn't even know it under your nose. So this has been going on for a long time, and but what I understood in this whole story, this is actually a complete story, folks, right? Um, Out of this whole scenario of, who has gone missing, who is here, who's not here, who died, who did not. Anytime someone has become very, very famous, right? And it knowingly, what they tend to do is when you're very, very famous, and what the deep state are bad people, the satanic organizations will say, if you're willing to sell your soul to us, we'll make you famous. And so you make the choice whether you want to do it or not. That's the way it works. You make a choice. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't decide to do it, then you're not as famous. But if you are, and say if they really want to make you famous and you refuse, it's been known that they'll try to scare you and attempt to take your life. So there have been means of other people that are evil, and even some of the actors are evil, who actually pretend to be actors, but they're actually are hit people that will try to take you out. And there is a well-known name of a person who actually has been known as an assassin for a long, long time. But they took him out. He's been removed, and by the service of Donald Trump's people. So he can never hurt anybody anymore. Meantime, you'll actually, like I said before, you'll see other people on TV, a lot of famous actors, or look like they're actors on TV, and you'll see that they're not exactly the same kind of people. They're just clones. But you will see that day when a certain machine gets turned on, which is part of the Tesla, they'll turn this machine on, yes. And once that machine gets turned on, the clones will go, that's it, done. I had a dream about it a long time ago, a couple years ago. I had a dream about seeing all these people walking in the streets as if Hollywood. And next thing you know, I heard this machine go, okay, turn it on. And next thing you know, boom, down they went. And they never opened their eyes, nothing, because they're clones. So like, Lady Gaga is a clone. So originally, the real Lady Gaga is a man. So it's not Lady Gaga, it's more like Lady Man Gaga. And some people say, well, I don't care if she was or he was. But the thing is that they wanted you to think that that's he or she or whatever. And again, she's also one of the queens of a satanic organization. Wasn't just a singer. She was pretty evil. You just don't know it, because anytime that she wants something, or she wants something, she'd get it. She'd take it. And if she didn't take it, she took you somehow. So it's really gruesome. I've seen some really gruesome things, some evil things I would never show my wife, things I would never show anyone. It's really bad. But if you did see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys. So let's see. Newsflash, most of the women actors in Hollywood were men. Yes, you're right. If you guys look at the idea of Victoria's Secret, okay, the models of Victoria's Secret, 90% of them are all men dressed as women. That's why they call it Victoria's Secret. Okay, and it's taken from the play. And they did it for years. That's why Donald Trump kept on saying, if you really want to know what a woman really feels like, you grab her by the... That's what he did. So they took that saying out of his words to make as if he actually is insulting women, but it's not what he did. He was trying to prove to you that these supposed to be women were men. So, yes, they were. Jill, now you know. And they're not, they weren't, most of them are boys, but people still believe that they were women. So, let's put it this way. If you see a lot of these women wearing all these major, huge feather boas that are sticking way out like peacocks, walking down the runway, do you think a woman can actually hold that huge piece of chunk of feathers that are weigh about 150, 200 pounds on their back walking down the runway? I don't think so. So it's going to take men to do that because their backs are different compared to women. They're arched differently. But they wanted you to believe that they're a woman. That's what this whole thing's about. They wanted you to start talking about gender changing. They were trying to get the boys to become girls and the girls to become boys. This is what this whole scenario of the deep state was about. That's satanic. They wanted every child to be born not to be recognized as a boy or a girl, not to be identified as a boy or a girl. That's what this whole goal was for. That's what Bill Gates and Fauci were trying to do. That's what all these leaders, these Rothschilds, Rockefellers, all of them, and Bilderbergs, this is what they're trying to do. They wanted you to not recognize any identity of God's children, to make them into satanic children. So you're satanic followers of Satan. That's why they say boy's going to be girl, girl's going to be boy. Not the volunteer to be, but you're going to be told to be. Yeah. That's why even the father, there's men fathers, it kept saying, I'm not going to have my daughter become boy. And next thing you know, the father goes to jail. He gets arrested and goes to jail. For what? It was in BC, here in British Columbia, about 6 months ago. He went to jail because he did not want his daughter to have a sex change. And she never wanted a sex change, but because the daughter told the teacher that she felt like she has a masculine feeling of wanting to be like the boys. So the teacher took it as literally saying, oh, well, then you're a boy, so we're going to change your sex. No. And then the father says, no, that can't happen. I'm not, no way under my roof you're going to take my child. And they scooped the kid up and they did the sex change without his approval, and he went to prison for it. Here in Canada. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Yeah. Trump actually was chosen by a special alliance force, and they've been talking to him since he was in his, like you said, in his 40s. Whoever wanted to be president. That's why Oprah asked him, you ever thought about becoming president of the United States, or think about doing it? And he goes, if I did, this is what I would do. But it wasn't his time, because it's all through a time machine. There was JFK Jr. and him went back into a time machine. They fixed things up. They fixed it. It was fixed. And because of his uncle, okay, his uncle actually was working with Tesla's time machine. There's lots of folks that you would not even know. Oh, that'd be blowing you away. But again, our world is supposed to be better than this. It should have been better than this hundreds of years ago. But because there are certain people that did not want us to be strong, did not want us to be self-confident, did not want us to be ahead and be financially stable and to have a great life. God wanted us to have a great life. God tried to show us to have a great life, but it was always influential of dark forces, dark people. They would snag you and tell you, we're going to keep you, we're going to own you, you're a sheep. We're going to put a name on you. We're not going to give you a name, we're going to put a label on you. We're going to give you a number. And that's exactly what they did for the longest time, for generation. And back in the early 1800s, we had technology. But all that was taken away because the Rothschilds and Rockefellers said, no, we're not going to give these people advancement. We're going to dumb them down, and we're actually going to give them school books the way I want them to learn. And so they made you think to believe certain things that was lesser than. Yep. James Trump was actually his uncle. His uncle actually knew Tesla. So it goes way back. JFK Jr., John F. Kennedy, take back. George Bush Sr., okay, he was the one that was sent out to go and assassinate Tesla. Before he became CIA, he actually was a German operative with the Germans to take out Tesla before he became a politician, before he became the head of CIA, before he became, and also, let's see, the person that was supposed to be the original shooter to kill John Kennedy Sr. was Dr. Fauci. He was the original shooter. Did you know that? Things get really small and tiny. Anyways, it's been a very interesting night. You guys are learning more from me than actually anybody calling in for readings. That's fine. There was somebody trying to call in before earlier, but I wanted them to wait until I'm actually done my program, and they were kind of interested or pushing, and I thought, you know what, they have to be respectful and be wait. They'll get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of them. One of the two, and I know who they are, so I'll chat with them later. But again, I wanted to give you some information. So again, I'd like you guys as much as possible to strongly support the 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 truckers for what they're doing. They're doing this. They're all helping each other. They're helping us, teach us to actually take our freedom back. We need our freedom back. And these truckers, for what, and this has been predicted a long, long time ago. It was predicted a long, long time ago that the truckers would be the ones that convoying across Canada to get to Ottawa to say, it's done. It was going to be a battle in itself. In one way, it'll be a peaceful battle, but and you have to learn to, I tell people, you got to be patient and don't take their crap. You can only say so much and do so much. But if anyone is and has been jabbed, if you want to fix it, call me and we'll have a chat. Okay? Because I can send you to some people that can give you a hand on it. If you don't want to believe in what I'm saying, that's your choice. If you feel you need to, again, there are side effects to what they give you. And you may not feel it now, but you're going to feel it after. Well, yeah. And if anybody's interested in wanting to get a reading with me, a full-time reading, I charge $130 an hour. And you can always contact me, whiteskycloud@yahoo.com. Or you can go to my website, whiteskycloud.com, whiteskycloud.com. What else is there? And yeah, so I was trying to keep you guys up to date about what's happening anywhere and everywhere across Canada. But don't be afraid or worried about what's going to happen next. These guys are tough as nails. But again, if anybody's a trucker out there, or anybody who actually wants to help support, be out there, even volunteer, whichever you want to do, it's up to you. But get down there. They will financially, if you need financial support to help them out, they will help you too. The money is there, folks. The money is there, and it's to be available if necessary. They'll make sure that you're taken care of too. If you want to be out there and as much as you possibly can, you're not going to waste your time. You're part of the historical story. Your name will be in it too. You become part of history. That's how the Bible began. We're in the middle of a biblical war right now. Okay, we're in the middle of a biblical war between God and Satan, and God has already won. Right now, we're in the middle of a movie that's just trying to end. But there are people out there that are going to be trying to be a straggler, that are going to be the bad guys and say, well, I'm going to hang on to this and hang on to that. Now, if you want to know what your rights are, go to a website called Action for Canada, which is number 4, actionforcanada.com. You want to find out if anybody's ever still bothering you about mandatory this and that's this and that, I'll tell you guys right now. The word mandatory or mandate is not a law. It is under the Black's Law Book says volunteer or giving in permission. It has nothing to do with a mandatory. It never will be a mandatory. But again, this is what people do. They have a tendency of making you believe that you have no rights. You do have rights. You have always had rights. And just don't give up on your rights. That's important. People have a tendency of giving up on their rights. And they'll say, well, I need to walk away from this. Don't walk away. We haven't, even as an Indigenous person, we're known to walk away. We're taught to walk away because when we had dealt with residential schools and dealt with dehumanizing our own people, the churches beat that into the kids to the point of making feel you're inferior, not worth anything. They did that purposely. They did it purposely, like the same thing they did to the Jews, any other race. They did to them, same thing, to make them feel like they're lesser than. It was always the idea of white supremacy. But the only people that created white supremacy was not the white people. The white supremacy was started by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the Bilderbergs. They created this, and then they had the people trying to believe it, because they'll put out the word. They'll make you feel like they say, "Oh, they're trying to take our jobs. They're trying to take our jobs. You know, do you really want them here? They're trying to take our jobs." And they'll say, and to the point they repeat things over and over again, you begin to believe it. And you guys have been suckers believing this crap over all this is going on right now, over the COV, for the last 2 years. 2 years. Okay? Take back yourself, take back your spirit, take back your heart. You are a human being. You have the right to live. And speak up for yourself. No yelling. Just say, look, here's how it works. But if you ever get onto the website, Action for Canada, and if you do have problems with any companies or businesses or owners or even your bosses, there's actually real documentation that you can download on the PDF file. Download it, fill it out, shove it in their face. Say, here, now you're in trouble. Cease and desist. If you carry on this, you're going to be going to court. We're suing your ass. And guess what? You win, because it's under the charter. Even Trudeau said, I'm removing the charter. No, he can't. No prime minister can remove the charter on his own. Oh, we're going to bypass the charter. You can't. It's illegal. It's a federal offense. That's treason. You can't remove the charter. It's treason. He's already committed treason continuously. And he's trying to tell you this. I'm committing treason. But you guys aren't stopping him. You're not going down there and boom, 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 I want to get him. You're just, oh, well, it's okay. You know, I'll try to live my life. He's committed so much treason. He is the worst prime minister of any time. Well, next to McDonald. And that's his hero, by the way. Another bad guy. But he will be. And when he's taken away, and a lot of your politicians are going to go, ching, ching, see you later. One-way ticket. And once they're gone, that's it. Yeah. And if anybody says they've missed a show, look back and watch the show again. He's not I could say he's not illegitimate, because that was intentional. That was arranged for Castro. Yes, that was arranged purposely, because he, like I said before, from the beginning of the program, he wanted to be like his real daddy, his birth daddy. He wants to be a leader, like they did, like his own birth father, doing the same thing we did to his own corruption in his own country in Cuba. So he wants to do the same thing for Canada. And it ain't going to happen. There's not enough people to back him up. Now he's caught in the corner and he's crying. And he had to go run away and to some place, call it, saying, I've got this. I got the COPD. I need to hide. No, he didn't. Oh, yeah, he had the COPD. And they did put him in hiding. He went into hiding for one reason, because he was giving you guys time to be prepared for him. Because, like I said, shit's going to fly. And you guys are going to win. We win. We've already won, but we're going to keep on doing it. And it will happen. Mind you, we'll say this. And another thing, too. There may be military intervention, but if they do call for martial law, that's to protect you. Seriously. If they call for martial law, it's to protect you, because I'll tell you why. There still has to be the 10 days of closing down. You need to see the people that are going to be, that will be on TV, that will be shown to you, those that have been charged under military tribunal, those have been charged and sentenced either to life in prison or EXECUTED. And there's over plus 250,000 of them, including Hollywood people. So we're looking at, and Mr. Trudeau is in that. I got his prison file, what it looks like. I got a picture of a photograph of it, what he looks like, the real Trudeau, and what he's charged with. And that's the way it goes. So not a game. It's not. We're not here to play. It's for real, folks. Like I said, it's up in whatever Y or UTUB does. But hear me well. No matter how I get this out, and how much this is shared, you folks need to know the truth. Because right now, Ontario and our parliament is trying so hard to shut anything down on Facebook or any social network that they can access, to not let anybody know where these people are. Why are they wanting to close it all off and shut them out? Because they're afraid of you to know where you are. They don't want to know that you're still here. They don't want you to know that you're doing well. They don't want to know. They want you to know that it's successful. And I want my other listeners and viewers knowing this. Those that don't believe in this and still think this is actually racism, that I'm supporting racism, I'm not. I support freedom. And some of these truckers may not believe in it, but that's their problem. And anybody thinks that what you believe on TV, that's your problem, because none of it's true. If you want to see the truth, come talk to me or anybody that you know. I got friends on Facebook, and some of them don't want to believe me. Well, guess what? You'll find out. You'll find out the truth. Guess what? And when you find out, you're going to like, oh, now I know what you're talking about. I don't want to believe it, but you'll find out. Right? Anyways, love you and leave you guys. I'm going to let you guys go, but talk to you guys next week. And in the meantime, in between time, that's another edition of my show. So anyways, take good care of you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me. And again, you want any readings, I am available. Contact me, text me, let me know what you need to find out, and we'll get things all worked out this way, right? Take care, guys, and we'll be good to each other. And God love you all.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for the stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, make peace.